We have been fighting the same bosses in raids ever since it came out, and I think it would be nice to have a little bit of a change. So today I'm going to be talking about 5 characters that I would like to see added to raids. Number 5, Nightwing. I really like this character. I think he's super underrated, and I would really like to see him as a sub boss, mainly because of his passive. His passive is that every time he gets hit while he's blocking, he generates zero point 0.3 bars of power. Now, I think this is really balanced if the developers decide not to give him any extra buffs. So, for example, for Horrific Scarecrow, one of his buffs on the side is that he has the Chaos ability. In other words, teammates tag in randomly. If you just take all that stuff out and you just leave Nightwing in there, like kind of how he is without any buffs at all, I think his passive is powerful enough to where you would have to kind of worry about it, but not powerful enough to where it's impossible to beat him. We already have to worry about the AI blocking. Now, in order to balance this out, why don't we give the AI the ability to gain power while it's blocking? This way we can be a little bit more defensively, but in turn, they don't give him any buffs. That way, that's the only thing we would have to worry about. I guess they could also allow him to keep his special, I think it's a special 2 ability, where he gets extra crit chance. I think that would be totally fine because we block all the time, so it wouldn't really be that big of a deal to us. It would be a bigger deal to people who don't have skill in the game, so that would kind of help them develop a little bit of skill in terms of blocking and being a little bit more careful, especially with that passive like we were talking about. I would not like to see him stun with the special 3, and I would not like to see him power drain with his special 1. If you took those 2 things out and any sort of buffs on the side, I think his passive and his special 2 is super balanced together. Number 4, Silver Deadshot. I would really like to see this character as a sub boss, even though he's a silver character, it doesn't matter. Just because of his passive. His passive is that the further that you are, the more damage he will deal. I think this is pretty cool because in raids, I think all of us can agree that you have to be as offensive as possible in raids. And that usually means that a lot of us are going to corner the sub boss all the way to the far right corner. This is a really good thing for people who, have the skill to do that. It's not that hard, but there are some people that I would imagine don't know how to do that. And I think this is like the perfect balance character where if you're playing too defensively, it can cost you a lot of health just because Deadshot is going to be doing more damage the further you are from him. Now, this is going to benefit people who are a little bit more aggressive because then that passive doesn't really bother you too much. In this character, I definitely think they would have to add some sort of buff on the side because, I think that passive is a little too easy to go against. I guess you can think of it like Gorilla Grodd, where Gorilla Grodd doesn't really have a strong passive to be a sub boss, but with those little extra buffs, they kind of make him a little bit more balanced. I think they should do the same exact thing with Deadshot. What kind of buffs will they add? I have absolutely no idea. Maybe they can give him a little bit of dot damage. That would be kind of cool. But anyways, I think he is a perfect balance character for people who are kind of starting at the game, but people who are also good at the game. And having 5 million health is always, or 5 million plus health is always a challenge. So, I think he's perfectly balanced. Flora Poison Ivy. As a sub boss, I think this would be one of those characters where you would have to be super careful and super strategical on when you want your tank to be out and when you want your damage dealer to be out. Between her special 2 and her passive, she can completely cripple your damage dealer. So you have to be very sure when you want to tag them in and when you want to tag them out. All right. Her passive is that she adds 6 seconds of movement disability and she adds damage over time. This is obviously something that you want your tank to handle, not your damage dealer. Now, unlike Black Lightning, which I was saying I would hate to have him as a sub boss or any kind of boss in raids, his cage completely blocks you in. His special 2 completely blocks you in. You can't tag in or tag out. Flora Poison Ivy kind of does the same thing. She even adds a damage over time, but at least you can tag out. All right. This is the strategical part about her. On top of that, they would probably obviously add a couple of buffs. I don't really know. Maybe they'd add more crit chance on dot damage. I don't know. But the point is that I think she would be a really nice character for you to learn how to be super strategical on when you want your characters to be tagged in and tagged out. Number 2, John Stewart Green Lantern. This character already has a lot of things going for him, so he is kind of like a sub-boss in a way. You can't power drain him, and if you added him as a sub-boss, you wouldn't be able to stun him. So I think that would be a really nice balance where you would have to find, super strong characters and super defensive characters on your team, which is what most of us do. However, this character also adds 100% team hazard and hazard dot damage, and he subtracts 50% hazard and hazard dot incoming damage. All right. So the main thing that you would have to worry about is his special 1 and his special 2. His special 2 is armor pierce. Now you can argue that this is not the thing that you have to worry about. You would have to worry about his special 1. just because he adds 100% team hazard and hazard dot damage. He would probably spam that especially throughout the match, especially throughout the end, because obviously in the last minute your power is generating super quickly. However, like I said, this character is already basically a sub boss, just one that we can use and that doesn't have a ton of health. So I guess not like a sub boss, but it would be cool to see him as a sub boss just because he's super agile and he has a lot of buffs going to him. But a lot of those buffs aren't necessarily things that you should worry about not being able to overcome. Number 1, Darkseid. All right, this is one of those things where I just want to see it. All right, I don't care if it's overpowered. I don't care if it's underpowered. I just want to see Darkseid as the main boss in raids. All right, screw Brainiac. Let's take him off for a week or something and add Darkseid. That would be super cool to fight Darkseid as a boss because that's what he is. He's a boss. He's supposed to be a giant threat. I know more about Darkseid than I do about Brainiac. Okay, so I think everybody does too. Everyone has heard about Darkseid. Not everyone has heard about Brainiac. I think it's just principle to add him as a boss, okay? Keep the phases, keep whatever you want. I just want to see him as a boss, all right? That's all I want to see. I think it's totally cool to leave his little passives that he has and his abilities. I think that's fine. I don't think they're super powerful. Obviously, he wouldn't be able to drop that, what's it called, little nuke. The little nuke that he drops throughout the matches in Arena when he's tagged out, because obviously as a boss, he's going to be the only one tagged in. I don't want him to have the ability to spawn in a Parademon just because I think that would take up a lot of time. Unless they really nerfed the Parademon's health. Then I guess that would be a perfect balance of where you have to worry about doing damage. You also have to worry about not him having a lot of power because if he spawns in a Parademon, that can waste a lot of time. All right, so I think this would be a really nice character to have in. Not just as a balanced character, but just like I said, just as principle, man. This is law. This is law. We need to see him as a boss. All right, we need to, at least for 1 month, 1 week, I don't care, 1 raid, it doesn't matter. I want to see him as the main character. This kind of defeats the entire, one of my arguments about Injustice 2 Mobile is that looks don't matter, okay? A lot of people were upgrading Red Hood when he came out because he looked so cool, right? But then everyone realized that he was actually really bad. He was really crap. But with Darkseid, yeah, screw that philosophy. I want to see him in there just because he's cool, all right? And if you guys have a problem with that, I do not care. All right, so that was the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys have any suggestions on who should be a sub-boss, I would really like to see that down in the comments. Another thing is, if you guys would like to see some sort of top 5 video, you can also leave those ideas down in the comments if you want. Not only will it help me come with ideas, but I think some of you probably have better ideas than I could ever possibly think of. So, if we just work together, just let me know what you guys would like to see as a top 5, and then I'll try my best to execute that. Anyways, with that being said, you guys can join the league if you want. I'll leave the little league ID down in the comments right now. But yeah, that's basically it. Oh, really quickly, I wanted to say one thing. All right, I wanted to say thank you. I think it's absolutely weird that I left for an entire month, maybe even a month and a half, I don't remember, and my subscribers basically doubled in that time. I think that's crazy. All right, and I think it's even crazier that a lot of people didn't unsubscribe because I didn't upload for such a long time. Not only that, but also I checked on my YouTube analytics the other day that my views were up by 100 and something % ever since I came back. All right, I think that's absolutely crazy. I don't really care too much. I think whoever says that it doesn't matter to them, the numbers don't matter to them, I think they're lying. I think you have to care to some extent, but I thought it was absolutely mind-blowing how people were still watching me. I think that was nuts. And another thing is that in the time that I was gone, one of my cousins saw that I had a YouTube video, and he said, wow, Mr. YouTube guy. And I was like, dude, come on, relax. I just have 100 subscribers. And he's like, how long did it take you? And I said, it took me like 2 months of just making videos that didn't matter. And then it took me like a month. And then in that 1 month, I made like 100 subscribers. And he's like, dude, that's crazy. That's a lot. And I'm like, is it? He's like, yeah. Think about it. Starting a YouTube channel is pretty hard because you have to find out what you got to do. And I was like, oh my God, he's right. This is like, I'm kind of privileged in a way where people started watching me for some odd reason. Maybe the YouTube recommendation gods are helping me out. I'm not too sure. But anyways, thank you guys. I'm also, ever since that conversation too, by the way, now I'm at 200 subscribers, which is mind-blowing to me. I am beyond hyped about that. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. I hope you guys have a good day. And again, thanks.